Good day. This is Attorney Don Green in Las Vegas, Nevada. And I'm here at Rigel Studios, which produces many of my television shows on the American Guns and Glory Network and on my channel on YouTube. Today, we are presenting some judicial candidates and judicial officers in what can only be classified as a special election special. I know that seems redundant, but today we are going to go through this, and please watch us very carefully. This is an important election where every vote counts. I'm pleased to be with Judge Mary Perry of Department P of the Family Court in Las Vegas, Nevada. I want to introduce you. This is Mary Perry. How are you today, Judge?
I'm doing very well, Don.
All right. And Judge, how long have you been a judge?
I've been a judge for 5.5 years now.
And you were elected to that position, is that correct?
I was elected.
And over the course of time, you had a lot of cases.
Yes.
And before that, let's go to the first slide then. Before that, what did you do?
Before that, I spent 8.5 years in the Air Force.
Wait, you're a veteran?
I am a veteran. And
let me ask you this. How many sitting judges in the 8th Judicial District Court, including downtown and family court, how many judges are veterans?
One.
And who was that?
Myself.
Did you get an honorable discharge?
I was honorably discharged.
Were you an officer or enlisted?
I was enlisted.
So you worked for a living?
I worked for a living.
Okay, thank you. Let's go back to that next slide. That slide, please. All right. And tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you see your vision as a judge and balancing that with your experience. Are you a mother?
I am a mother.
Okay, experience as a mother, experience as a wife, and how do you bring your everyday experience into your job?
I've got such a wide range of experience that there's so many different careers that I've worked in that I know a little bit about most of the areas out there. So it's very easy for me to know where the people are coming from, know what the litigants are talking about, or at least have someone in my family that has went through it. So I'm able to take and be empathetic with what they're going through, while at the same time knowing I still have the job that I've got to do, I've got the rules I've got to follow, and I've got the laws that I've got to follow.
Well, thank you. Let's go back to that slide, please. Now, you have served in the Air Force. You served as an attorney.
Yes.
You have served as a judicial officer.
Yes.
And how many cases do you think you have handled in the 5.5 or 6 years in which you have been a judge?
Thousands of cases.
And I take it that some of these cases are simple and some are difficult.
Yes, the majority of the cases, fortunately, are really simple. At any given time, I average probably about 470 open cases at one time that I've got to take it from the beginning all the way to end, which would be anywhere from 6 months to a year to bring the most of them to completion. The really highly complex or that's got other issues in it, it could take even longer than 12 months to get it completed.
We're going to get into that in much more specificity in just a few minutes. May we have the next slide, please? What does Judge Mary Perry stand for?
I stand for families and children first. Children have got to have their needs met. You know, the parents may want one thing, but is that what the children need? Most of the time in litigation, no, it isn't, because the parents go in, they want it all, but the kids need both parents.
Well, would you believe that it is good that you are a mother and you can empathize with the mother or the father?
Yes, absolutely.
And for example, we have currently one Supreme Court justice in Washington who has never had a child, has never been married. During the Reagan administration, we had Justice Souter, who lived with his mother and never married. But they were making decisions on abortion. Now, you don't make the decision on abortion, but looking at that, do you feel that your life experience your experience in the Air Force in taking orders and giving orders, and that experience with being a lawyer in many fields and many questions. You and I met on several occasions before you were a judge, and I was very proud of that. Always supported you, and your experience as a judge. And would you say that this life experience is important to your decision making on the bench?
Life experience is very important when I'm not sitting on the bench, or when I am sitting on the bench. If all you have done has gone from your schooling directly into work in the law is all that you know. Where if you've actually had life outside of the law, it gives you a greater ability to determine what real life is about outside of the law, and it helps frame the decisions in a way where hopefully the litigants can understand more.
Let's go to the next slide, please. Okay. What does Judge Perry do on an average day, and why do you believe that what you do is important for the viewing audience?
On an average day, I get up and usually start beginning to review the cases that I have that's coming on before me. This isn't the first time I've reviewed the case. I usually take my weekend before that week to go over the cases, and then each morning I look back over it to make sure that those cases are in my mind. Then I have breakfast and I'm down at the office by 8 o'clock in the morning. Then I have staff meetings and
What staff do you have?
I have a law clerk. I have a judicial executive assistant. I've got a marshal. I also have 2 courtroom clerks. One of them would be in the courtroom with me on a daily basis.
Without getting into any specifics, what's the content of these staff meetings?
Usually it is what we've got on calendar for that day and what needs to be completed during that day to make sure that my courtroom remains as efficient as what we are.
Thank you. Please continue on your duties each day.
Yeah. Then by 9 o'clock, I'm sitting on the bench, and in the morning, I'm usually listening anywhere to from 12 to 40 different cases in the morning. And then when I come back from lunch, I'm doing the same thing. On Mondays and Tuesdays, I have trials. Sometimes I have up to 4 trials a day, depending on how the issues are, and if I can find simple issues that I can put all into one day.
You get lunch?
Yeah, I actually, could you imagine the hangry if I didn't?
Okay, please continue.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to have overtime. So based upon when my staff comes in the mornings, I've got to make sure that they leave without going into overtime. So managing my calendar and the clock is very important on every single day.
In what you do, tell the audience what you as a judge specifically, not the specific case, but the specific subject matter. What do you rule on the average day, the average week?
On every single day, it's usually divorce, child custody, child support, adoptions, termination of parental rights. Then we go into the more in-depth, the different rules and discovery issues and trial issues. And I'm constantly having to go through the full range of every subject that could possibly come before family court.
Now, the district courts downtown, the courts of general jurisdiction, criminal, civil, probate courts, they have a discovery commissioner.
Correct.
Is there a discovery commissioner in the family court?
I believe we have the same discovery commissioner.
Okay, so what does the discovery commissioner do, and what can you do about his or her rulings?
The discovery commissioner sits there and makes a determination on if there's objections or motions to compel filed before them on requests for discovery, whether it's production of documents or interrogatories or the request for admissions. It's his job to sit there and determine, are they just? Is it something which can be used at trial? Is it far-reaching, not fair? Is it just trying to go on a fishing expedition? What my job is when he makes a determination, if one of the parties don't agree with it, then they will file an objection within 10 days of the or not the entry of that, but from the decision. And then I have to sit there, read the rules, read what the questions are, see what the scope of the litigation is, and make sure that the questions are fair. A lot of it may seem like it isn't, but it's not necessarily is this information they're seeking admissible, is it whether or not it's leading to admissible evidence by the answers.
So in this, what you've just said, this requires a lot of experience and concentration on cases, correct?
Absolutely.
And is this a job for on-the-job training?
This is not a job for on-the-job training.
And are any of your opponents judicial officers or served as judicial officers?
I do not believe either one of them has served as a judicial officer in any way.
So, assuming that they're not, never been judicial officers, do you think that your experience and what you're talking about and what you do during the day, the audience should know about that in making an intelligent decision about voting for you?
They absolutely do need to know what the experience of all parties involved.
Now, many of my clients who come to me and I refer divorce cases out, I ask them if it's a high-end divorce, middle, or low-end divorce. Let's talk about the pro per litigant.
Okay.
The wife is pro per, she's representing herself. And her husband, who's 30 years older than she is, has 5 lawyers, the top lawyers in town. There's a prenuptial agreement where he got all this separate property, and she doesn't have anything in her name, but she wants a divorce because he's running around on her, and they incompatibility. How do you balance that kind of case?
Those are hard to really balance. I've got to be fair to both parties. However, I'm not allowed to litigate the issues for the person who doesn't have an attorney. I do everything I can to attempt to get them to at least consult with an attorney. We have what we call sergeant fees, where if one party has all the money, I'm allowed to award attorney's fees, but the spouse has to have an attorney for me to award those fees. A lot of attorneys out here know to take the chance, come in, but it all depends on what the prenuptial agreement states. When was the prenuptial agreement signed? If it was signed on the eve of the marriage, it may be invalid. If all of the separate property or debt wasn't disclosed at the time that it was done, then that could be an issue with it. If there wasn't proper representation for the spouse that's getting nothing, there could be grounds to set aside the prenuptial agreement. But moving on, discovery needs to be done, and the person who comes in pro per, they need as much protection as they can get. If they're not hiring an attorney, then I'm going to do the best job I can without stepping in as a litigator. But there's information that I need to know before I can make a decision, so I'm going to ask the questions. If the attorney on the other side's not going to delve there, I will go there.
So if the other side, the husband has 5 attorneys from the largest law firm in town, are you there to kind of level the playing field, so to speak?
If the rules will allow me, I can't cross that line. The judicial canons require me to be fair and impartial. I cannot litigate the case. However, if I see an unfairness taking place, I can question it and make sure that we keep the impartiality down, or keep the impartiality there while the unfairness is down.
You mentioned something about the judicial canon of ethics. I take it that you've read those.
I have read them.
And isn't it true that after you were elected, you had to go to a special school?
Yes, I did.
And what is that?
That is Judicial College.
And where is that?
That is in Reno.
Okay,
for the entire country, it's in Reno.
So you've got new judges from all over the world, or excuse me, all over the United States going to Reno.
And the world.
And the world. And what is it that you learn there that you have bring to bear in your daily life as a judge?
The things that they stress on us the most is the impartiality. We must stay impartial in what we are doing. We must follow the rules. We must follow what a judge is supposed to do. We're not litigators, so we cannot take sides. We can only take the facts and apply those facts to the law and make our decisions.
And your decisions, which you make, some of the decisions at the end of the case, whatever, are appealable. Is that correct?
Yes, they are.
And the appeal goes where?
The appeal will go all the way up to the Supreme Court, and then if it's something in which they believe would be easily decided and not necessarily new law, they'll push it down to the appellate court.
And we have a court of appeals that's only been in existence about 4 or 5 years.
I think it's been in existence a little longer than that. Yeah,
It's-
not much longer, but a little longer than
It
that.
seems longer.
Yeah.
But the Intermediate Court of Appeals, what they say in their decision, you have to follow.
Correct, I have to follow.
Against you or for your decision.
Correct.
And they're not ruling on you personally, is that correct?
That is
They're
correct.
ruling on what happened in the court in your capacity as a
Correct.
judicial officer.
Correct. And a lot of times, you may have a case that's got 5 different issues in it, but they may say, okay, you calculated child support wrong. You need to recalculate it. So even though they're sending back the entire case, the decisions that was made on the divorce, the property, the custody, all of that stands. The only thing that is remanded back to me is to recalculate child support.
And in recalculating child support, is there a specific percentage or range of percentages which you, by statute, you must look at?
There is, but there is also wiggle room because we also have areas over there where you can give the downward deviations or upward deviations.
Explain our upper and downward deviation.
An upward deviation is where you're adding more into child support. A severely disabled child and the mother has primary or the father has primary, we may award a little bit more to go through the special care that has to go into that. Downward deviation, parents have got additional children that's not the subject of the litigation. We've got a parent who's doing the best he or she can, but they're having to live out of their car when they're paying that child support. These people deserve a downward deviation in the child support so that they can still enjoy the children also when they're in their care and support them and not have to give up seeing their kids just so that they can pay child support to the other parent.
And what you're talking about here, you have learned as a practitioner in family law and as a judicial officer. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So again, for the viewing audience, would you say that family law is just not 6 weeks and get divorced? It can be very complicated.
It is extremely complicated. There's a lot of issues that goes into it.
Okay. And so may we have the next slide, please? Okay. You have specific jurisdiction in your family court.
Correct.
And generally, what are the limits on your power as a district court judge?
Well, we've got the United States Constitution as well as the Nevada Constitution that can limit our powers. The statutes can limit our powers. Case law can limit it.
The statutes.
The NRS.
Is that like chapter 125?
Correct.
And then isn't there a special chapter on juveniles?
There is.
Okay, so not only you got all this, you got to factor all that in your mind.
Correct.
And make instantaneous decisions.
Correct.
Correct? Let's go back to limits on jurisdiction. So, and does the rule of law matter?
Absolutely.
And why does the rule of law matter?
Because that is what guides the judges on how they are supposed to make their decisions. What does the law say? That is how we have to make our decisions. We may feel like we should be doing different. Our feelings may say, this is not necessarily fair, but we have to follow what the law says And it's up to the litigants where if they don't agree with the decision, the judges followed the law, file an appeal and get the appellate courts to say, you're right, this needs to change. The Supreme Court and the appellate court will give us guidance if there's not been guidance given in the past.
So in some cases, are you walking a fine line of what you believe to be an ethical decision as a judge, that you follow the law, but the other party, the husband or the wife or the child custody case or whatever, is downtrodden, and you see perhaps an exception, but you can't do it? So what do you do in that situation?
We have some determination factors in there that kind of leaves it up to, it's judicial discretion. If in reviewing everything there, if I believe that I'm still exercising within the law, the way that the law is written, and the Supreme Court or appellate court has not answered it, then I will follow my heartstrings as long as it's still consistent. And then if the other side appeals it and they say, no, that's going too far, then I'll accept that. We have a lot of guidance, but we don't have all of the guidance. There's always some new issue that comes up. Like now we've got AI that's an issue in a lot of things.
Define that, Judge.
AI is artificial intelligence, where they're coming in and let's say parents are using artificial intelligence to make a determination on how to parent the child instead of discussing it with the other parent. Then, this seems simple.
What does AI have to do with this?
AI is something in which a lot of parties are turning to. It's a brand new technology that, as every day goes, it's getting smarter and smarter and smarter. And sometimes it leads us down the wrong road if we pay too much attention to it and not really use it to determine what is the real case law versus the made-up case law that AI is starting to do.
Yes. We have, and you mentioned about discretion. We have a case in Nevada dating back to 1869, which sum and substance says that here's the law and here's the ambit of discretion, the area of discretion. You could be wrong, but still within your limits of your discretion. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
And would you believe that? Do you believe that factor is something which merges together with the law, and the fabric of the law is what protects all of us?
That is correct.
And would you agree again that with what you've told us today, this is no job for on-the-job training? You got families out there, you got kids, you got poor litigants who are fighting the biggest law firms in town.
That is correct.
But you still have to exert equal and exact justice.
Exactly.
Let's go to the next slide, please. We have Nevada's judiciary court structure. We have the Nevada Supreme Court, we have the appellate court, we got district courts, we got the family courts, municipal courts, and justice of the peace. Is the family court on equal footing with the district court?
It is.
And what are the differences between district court judge and a family court judge?
The big difference between district court judges and family court judges is I can hear what they hear, but they cannot hear what I hear.
Give me just a specific, no specific example, a general example of what you just said.
A general example, let's say that a married couple decides they want to go in and do what's called a partition action for real property downtown. They want to divide that. The district court, the downtown judges is what we call them, would have to send the cases to family court because it's community property, which is marital law, and that falls in the family court jurisdiction.
So not only are you applying marital law, you're looking at the law of property,
Correct.
the way and it's like law school. How it was taken. Was it taken by joint tenants in common? Was it by their family was squatters for 100 years, so now it's theirs? I'm just giving you an example. So there's a lot of things you have to apply.
There is.
So it's not just sit there and do divorces all day long.
Correct.
It requires a lot of work, and a lot of that work is done by you and your law clerk and staff.
Correct.
Do you have anybody else that helps you at 10 o'clock at night when you got this huge trial coming up and you and your law clerk are there? Is there anybody else there but you?
Just the good Lord.
Okay. And then does the state provide materials for you as a judicial officer?
They do. They actually provide us with Westlaw so that we can do our research, so that we can look nationwide to see what is going on.
What about books?
Books are not so much anymore because of the space that it takes up. Most of the technology is now online.
So you have, I guess, the whole Nevada revised statutes and the interpretation cases online.
Correct. It's all online.
And I take it that there's an element of security when you're ready to make a decision. Is that correct?
Yes.
So your staff is not going to call up one of the attorneys and say, "Hey, Judge Perry's going to rule this way today."
No, that's an ex parte communication.
Okay. Now, when your best friend, as an attorney, is representing the husband, and an attorney who you litigated a case and he absolutely hates you, and he comes in and he's representing the wife. Tell us how you will, not how you will rule, but how you approach that kind of a case.
Judge Perry has no friends. Mary Perry may have friends. Mary Perry may not like people, but Judge Perry finds everybody equally the same. And the more I get to know the people, the more I will laugh and joke. And nobody out there should be able to tell whether I like them or not like them.
So you'll be totally impartial.
I am totally impartial, even for that proper person litigant. It doesn't matter that there's an attorney on the other side. I'm going to treat that proper person litigant with as much courtesy as I can. You know, there's times where I get short and abrupt because in most of instances, I got 15 minutes maximum to hear what's going on and to give my decision, because there's 3 or 4 other people, you know, in that hour that's waiting to be heard. So I get rushed. I have to move things along. And a lot of your questions could be answered at the Self-Help Center. Some of it could be answered at the Legal Aid Center. They've got the Ask a Lawyer program on Thursdays. There's a lot of programs where some of the information that the litigants are wanting, they can answer that question, because I cannot give legal advice. And a lot of stuff they want is that legal advice.
Thanksgiving Day. You're at home. Your husband's there watching a football game. Your family's there. You've got your oven mitts on. You're taking the turkey out. The phone rings. Your husband says, "There's a policeman on the phone for you." What does Mary Perry do at that moment?
I don't normally have the policeman call me because I'm family court. However, I will have Safe Nest call.
Excuse me, Safe Nest. A representative from Safe Nest calls you. What do you do?
I put everything down, tell hubby, take the turkey out of the oven, and I go up and I review the application for a temporary protective order and sign it if it needs to be signed, or, you know, send it back stating it doesn't rise to the need of protection.
So you're making an instantaneous, thoughtful decision in just a few minutes. That's all the information you have.
Correct.
To restrain someone from going over to someone's house, or to let him go free.
Correct.
He can do what he wants.
Correct.
And that kind of decision making, let's bring it to bear to right now. That kind of decision making, is that based on your professional and judicial experience?
Yes, it is.
Does that make you, in this election, for Department P of the Family Court, P as in Perry, does that make a difference to those people who are watching this program Yes or no?
Yes, it does.
And what are your final comments, Judge?
My final comments is I bring in the professional and judicial experience that is necessary to do this job with efficiency and competency, and equally, I make sure that I make the decisions. Most attorneys out there can hear facts of a case and they can tell their litigant, their client, this is how this judge is going to make a decision. This is what she's going to decide, because I am consistent in what my decisions are.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Again, vote for Judge Perry in Department P, P for Perry. And enjoy watching this program. We'll be broadcasting this on my YouTube channel and on all the gun shows which are coming up. There's a gun show coming up in a few weeks. Judge, I want to thank you so much for appearing today.
Thank you for having me.
And we're Don Green signing off. Thank you.